Hi guys, I'm going to go ahead and present one of my grants that I was fortunate enough to receive this year. And so the first one is called a merging classroom. And if you're like me, we have been virtual most of the year. Today was actually our first day of in-person hybrid model. So I'm a little exhausted getting ready to present this to you guys, but I think it resonates more after being in person today and seeing the challenges that we had and understanding why we need some of this new technology. So again, my name is Elisha Campbell, and my first grant that I'm going to discuss with you guys is called a merging classroom. Okay, let me move this over here so I can see my stuff a little bit better. Okay, so now that we have, this first slide is kind of about a COVID-19 classroom. So I don't have to tell any of you guys about COVID-19. I don't have to tell any of you guys about virtual learning. I don't have to tell any of you guys about the challenges that we are facing today as educators because we're living them daily and we all know what's going on and we all know what's up. The struggle is real. We're always a hot mess if you're like me. And we're just trying to figure things out day by day. And that's what we do best is adapt and get things going and innovate. So I think it's been a challenge for educators to learn how to innovate within their classroom. So with that being said, my biggest thing in my classroom before COVID hit was I'm known as the teacher that has the flex seating, who has the up and rowdy activities. I would describe my classroom 90% of the time as controlled chaos, in the sense that we're always doing group work, we're always working together, we always have some kind of activity going on. And COVID classroom has really hit me hard, especially trying to be a virtual teacher where I'm a very hands-on person. Like I learn best myself personally when I'm hands-on or touching things or hearing things or working with someone, and to not have my kiddos there to respond to me and try to do it through a computer screen has just been a very big challenge for me, and it's kind of had to make me reevaluate my whole classroom. And so something that I started to look at over the summer is when I was wondering if we were going to get to write these grants or not, was I was looking into virtual reality. And I don't really know a lot about virtual reality, to be quite honest. I think I've done a virtual reality experience one time at KVEC. I think I went there on some kind of teacher training, and we got to put on the goggles, and I actually walked out on the bridge of this big building, and it felt like I was there, and I kept thinking, what is something that I can put into my classroom that is, one, not going to break the bank, two, that I can get a lot of, and three, is going to, most importantly, bring my lessons to life and have some kind of social and emotional learning and connection with my kids. Because I have just felt so, I don't know about you guys, but I've just felt so disconnected from my students, and in a sense that we've not been together and it's not been the traditional way we learn to teach. And so I want to do something for them to make this better for them, because I think about my own children and some of the things that they told me today, and I really want to combat that in my classroom and try to, make things, it's not going to be normal right now, but to make things as interactive and engaging for them as I possibly can throughout this trying time. So I know a lot of you guys maybe be middle school, maybe high school, but the biggest challenge that I've seen really and truly is with the primary, and maybe not necessarily my classroom because I teach the third grade, but more so with the lower primary. Your kindergarten, your first grade guys, they need that hands-on time. They need that time with that pencil. They need that time to feel something, to manipulate something. That is such a big thing in the primary, and that's been one of my biggest fears, is how can I use the hands-on? How can I apply that real-world application and learning and still social distance my kids? Like I told you guys, I had group work every single day, gallery walks, talking with each other, student choice, centers. If you can name an activity that was hands-on in my classroom, I was doing it probably 80% of the time with my kids. And that was my biggest worry when I went back, is I cannot be this, sage on the stage. I have to be the guide on the side. I can't stand being up and just delivering that direct instruction to my kids. It's just not how I do my classroom. And it may work for some, it's just not personally for me. And so, again, I went back to that virtual reality and thinking about how can I provide that hands-on opportunity, because, we're trying not to share materials, and we're trying to be safe, and we're trying to follow guidelines. But it's just really been a difficult situation when we can't pass out our manipulatives and things, or give them that real world application. We can't go on a field trip. We can't take them out into the world and, say, hey, here is an example of a gym. Let's go mine it like we did at Camp Nathaniel. Or we can't say, hey, we're going over here to watch this play, or we're going over here to look at this aquarium. Where are we going to do that hands-on learning, because they can't leave the classroom. And when they're not in the classroom, they're going to be at home. So what can we do to make sure they still have that real-world connection? So therefore, all of that led me to my area of focus, which was, how can I provide real-world engaging experience for my students from afar? It's all about an engaging experience. That is my biggest worry and fear right now, is that I don't want them to get bored. I don't want them to get dependent on a device. I don't want them to sit here and say, well, all we do is Google Classroom assignments all day, and I just click and type, click and type. I want something better for them. So that got me to thinking again about the virtual reality. And I don't know if you guys are have ever heard of the merge cubes and the goggles. I hadn't. I think I heard someone mention them. I always get my ideas from Summit. Like anything new that I've ever written a grant for the year after, it's because I've heard it at Summit, or heard someone talking about they were going to write something for that too. So I kind of steal ideas, or I guess share and borrow. Work smarter, not harder, right? So when I look at merge cubes and goggles, they are a very inexpensive virtual reality addition to your classroom. And they're not the big fancy VRs. No, they're not. But are they going to provide some kind of engagement for my students? Well, I hope so, because I've not gotten them yet. And honestly, I can't really give you all the details about them or show you anything about them. I'll have to wait until the spring summit to do that. I can just tell you what I've researched myself, or what people have told me about them. So basically, they're just what they say, a cube. So from my understanding, they have this cube, and they can take a device, or maybe their goggles too. So that's why I got the goggles, is to make it more real. But that little cube, what happens is they like scan a device over it. And basically what my slide says is they can hold a fossil in their hand and examine it like a paleontologist would, or they could watch a volcano erupt like they were there. Or I'm thinking they can get on an app and create their own 3D. Like, the big thing right now is, bringing stuff back and forth from home to school, and, trying to be safe and not spread any germs. And so I'm hoping that they can maybe create some virtual projects, because, I'm the ELA teacher. And so we read a lot of books, like we're reading Charlotte's Web right now. So, sometimes we do a lot of projects. So they can create a virtual reality project or do something, and it'd be safe, and we don't have to share it, and everybody can just see it the way that it is and present it and hold it in their hand without technically having the object right there tangible to hold, if that makes sense. So the biggest thing when I thought about the merge cubes is that our district adopted the Wit and Wisdom curriculum this year, which is a very rigorous reading curriculum. And one of the big things that it's different too. So we've had a lot of changes, but I'm cruising through, okay? We're going to be positive. But the biggest thing about Wit and Wisdom that I like is it does incorporate the science and social study aspect, and the writing for kids. But like our first module is completely geared towards the sea and things in the sea. And so when I was thinking about, okay, how many of my students in this area have technically not visited the ocean? There's a lot. Like, some of them, when I ask them if they go to the beach, a lot of them would respond and say, yeah, I have. I say, okay, well, which one did you go to? Over at Car Fork. And I was like, guys, that is a beach. They call it the beach, but that's not a beach. We're not at the sea. That's just a place at the lake that we go and hang out. And so they cannot have that connection with what they're reading in the text if they don't even know what the ocean is, or what's in the ocean, or there's that big world out there that our kids don't get to experience. And a lot of kids in this area specifically learn things through the outside world through our eyes and what we get to show them just because of their economic status. And so I wanted to make sure that I could give them something and do those virtual reality field trips and explore things in the sea that they wouldn't get to normally, and they will be able to hold those things and learn more about them by having a hands-on experience with them. So I think the next slide might take me to okay, so I'm going to see if this will pull up. I'm hoping it will. And it's going to be showing you some things about the merge cube. So I added the link in there, so I'm going to see if it'll share my screen and find. Okay. I hope it pulls up. So it's loading. Sorry, I didn't want to type everything in there because there was so much that I just wanted to share about them. That I wanted to just pull up the merge cube website, and that way you would also have it too if it was something that you wanted to look at. So I'm going to see, it's going to play this little video. So it's going to show you all the different things that kids are looking at through the merge cube. This is the video I wanted to share. I think it's just amazing. So they're holding the three. And what's funny about this is we talked about whales today and the animals in the sea. And so hold these things and see the 3D, or when we're talking about geography, or we're talking about how with my social studies class too, or even a frog right now, like we can't really dissect frogs in class, or they can just pull it apart. All these things, I just think this is the coolest thing. And I'm so excited to get it in my classroom. So I wanted to show you guys that video, but I'm going to pull it over here while it's up to the actual Merge Cube website. So that if you wanted to go on, you could look at it later. So it's just mergeedu.com/cube. And basically it gives you a little rundown of everything that's going on. So you can download and launch through an app, smartphone or tablet. You just point it at the cube and it transforms into the virtual object that you're looking for. It has a lot of STEM activities and lessons that are already made. I'm not sure if I got that or not with mine. I think it might have came in the bundle. But their standards aligned, their STEM platform. I'm trying to, look at everything on here. You can use it, here's the biggie, you can use it at home or in the classroom. So, if you go completely virtual and you send it home with kids and they have that engagement there with you, or they have that multi-sensory learning, which is the big thing with me is, I'm a visual, I'm an auditory, I'm a kinesthetic, I'm all of it in one. And so with these merge cubes, it's going to address all of your kiddos and kind of get rid of that just screen to, that boringness that we feel right now with virtual learning and virtual teaching. They can develop spatial abilities, 3D creation and printing. There's just so much that these can do. And like I said, I'm no expert on them right now. What you see and what you know about them is what I know about them. Right there, I think it's showing a little video. Yeah, so you're just pointing to it and you can see all kinds of things. And I'm just hoping to connect the real world with my text is my biggest thing. So let me go back. Okay, so here are some of my objectives that I want to accomplish this year with the Merge Cubes is travel and explore without leaving the classroom. We're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to get to go anywhere. We're from home to school. So I want to be able to take them on a journey and show them things that otherwise they're not going to get to see or feel or touch or, experience. Promote curiosity and engagement. A lot of the times I feel like today my kids are reading a story about Boris and Amos was in our Wit and Wisdom, and they might not know how a whale, or they're talking about mammals, so they may want to hold a mammal and look at it and look at the different parts of what makes something a mammal, and so that gives them that self-to-text connection that a lot of kids are missing, especially in this area, simply because they don't have the experiences that other kids have in different parts of the country and even different parts of the world. And again, it's all about trying to get them to be engaged and interact and have a love for learning and reading. I want them to be able to have that love for reading that, hey, I can learn about things if I go and read it myself, and not just because my reading teacher told me to read that today. Some of the resources, I found these on Amazon, and they were 16 merge cubes and headsets, and it was about $60 each for the cube and the headset. I think you could get a classroom set. They were pretty inexpensive. I feel like the cube itself was maybe around 20 bucks, and then I just added the goggles on mine. So if you just wanted to start out and have the merge cube, you could get on Amazon and get those pretty inexpensive. And like I said, I think my in-person kids, I think we have about 17 right now, so I may have to, switch them out and have this for this group and this for this group and then sanitize them. I'm not sure how I do that yet. I have to check into that and wipe them all down and see what material they're made of and the cleaning process. But they're about $60 each so far. The way that I feel like I'm going to measure success is how we do every year with anything. Did they grow from the beginning to the end? It's all about I don't really look at it as a teacher if they are this. Of course, we want them to be on grade level. Of course, we want them to be a specific number, but did they grow? If they're growing, they're learning, and that's the main goal for all of us because as we know through COVID, they're all probably going to be behind a little bit because of the, shutdown, and they just weren't with us for a long time. Did they master their standards? Yeah, we check that every year. But here's my thing. Could they create something? What was their testimony about it? When they talk to a teacher, a parent, someone, what do they say about this when used it in my classroom? Were they excited? What did they learn? Did it make them have a connection to something? Did it make them remember something? What everlasting impression did it put on them in my classroom? So that's kind of what I have for you guys with the merge cubes. If you want to know more, you can follow me on the holler, or if you want to email me about some stuff or how I'm going to use these in my classrooms when I get them. I don't have them yet. I'm getting ready to turn in my PO this week, hopefully, when I get a moment. But I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation about merge cubes. I'm super excited to implement them into my classroom and have that merging classroom and start bringing things to life. So thanks, everybody.